Hello, and welcome to my podcast on what is urban ecology and the main threats it is faced with. Urban ecology is the study of how living organisms such as humans interact with one another in an urban setting. It also looks at how organisms interact with the environment. Urban ecology is particularly important as it can be used to promote sustainability as well as protect all the organisms living in urban environments as they become more and more expansive. Humans are the greatest threat to urban ecology and the world as a whole, despite being the ones in charge of determining its future. Decisions made by governments and local councils have an immeasurable impact on ecological systems. The 7 key aspects of urban ecology are climate, land use, air pollution, water pollution, ecosystems, waste management, and biogeochemical cycles. All of these different aspects are shaped immensely by human actions. These aspects are very much interlinked and dependent on one another, which results in urban ecologies being very fragile and complicated to manage. A problem that ecologists are currently encountering is that many countries do not have any ecological systems that have no human influence. This is particularly a problem in smaller countries with a high rate of development and urbanization. This makes it difficult for those countries to measure the impact urban activities are having on the environment, as they have no land that is completely free from human influence to compare it to. Urban ecosystems are not as well examined as rural and natural ones such as rainforests, as they have not been around for as long and consequently not had as much research carried out on them. Streetlights. Streetlights, despite being relatively small adaptations to urban environments compared to football stadiums and motorways, have quite a damaging impact on ecology for their size. This is due to the blue light being emitted by the new LED street lamps. Obviously, streetlights are a necessity for cars to drive safely at night, so a balance needs to be found between safety and sustainable ecology. It is possible for streetlights to be used whilst limiting the damaging impact they have on urban ecology. This could be done by ensuring that streetlights do not shine light upwards or towards trees where it is extremely likely that wildlife will be living in. Streetlights are damaging for wildlife and humans alike, due to the blue light they produce, which blocks the hormone melatonin, which makes you sleepy, consequently disrupting our diurnal body clock and sleep cycle. Many councils switched from orange street lamps to LEDs in an attempt to improve urban ecology, as the traditional lights had sodium vapour in them, which was even more damaging due to the high amount of energy they required and carbon emissions they produced. Whilst LEDs are less damaging for the environment, their efficiency is somewhat damaging, as they are significantly brighter than the traditional orange ones, therefore exacerbating light pollution. On an even simpler level, streetlights in general are problematic for animals, as the presence of light alone, without the blue light element, confuses them into believing it is daytime. As well as causing disruption to sleep cycles, the blue light emitted from LEDs and streetlights has also been linked to much more serious problems for humans, such as diabetes, obesity, and even Alzheimer's. Another detrimental effect of light pollution is that it doesn't just influence the immediate area, but the cities where light is densely concentrated can cause light pollution to extend up to tens of kilometres away. Councillors on average spend 7% of their budget on street lighting. However, often councils spend that proportion of the budget regardless of whether or not sufficient lighting can be put in place on a smaller budget. To combat the issues of light pollution, this remaining money could be spent on reducing blue light and aiding research to reduce the impacts of light pollution, rather than adding more lights, consequently adding to the problem. For example, this money could go towards increasing the wavelength of the light in streetlights, as this reduces the impact the light has on our sleep cycles. Since 2008, over half the world's population has lived in urban areas, and this proportion is only going to get larger for countries around the world as urban sprawl and suburbanisation takes place. Dealing with urbanisation. A big challenge for urban ecologists is due to a rapid urbanisation seen in so many countries. Around 2,000 average-sized cities around the world, with populations below 1 million, are expected to triple in size. Furthermore, by 2030 it is estimated that 5 billion people will live in urban areas compared to around 3.9 billion currently. It is very difficult for low-income countries to monitor and develop urban areas sustainably, which is having a detrimental effect on those areas. Any spare money councils and governments have goes towards improving access to safe water and building roads rather than improving urban ecology. Another potential problem, particularly prevalent in high-income countries, is making housing greener and more ecological without making it unsustainable and unaffordable for people who currently live there. We have got to find a balance, as it is difficult to make housing greener without making it more expensive. You can often tell affluent areas apart from poorer areas due to the amount of green space. There are severe inequalities in access to green space, especially in urban areas. In Brazil, where there are slums with no green space at all, situated next to mansions and palaces with acres of green space. Urban ecology and climate change. Trees, vegetation, and green roofs are all of vital importance to combat the urban heat island effect. If temperatures rise by a couple of degrees globally, this will be even greater in urban areas due to the urban heat island effect. Climate change could be seen as a threat to urban ecology over the next few decades. This is because currently, and in the foreseeable future, climate change will be the most pressing and important issue for governments and geographers in positions of power to deal with. Consequently, it would be easy for urban ecology to be pushed aside and forgotten. However, it is still really important and could be used in the fight against climate change. 54% of the world's population live in urban areas, so it makes up a significant proportion of the Earth's land surface. In conclusion, humans are the greatest threat to urban ecology and are at risk of developing at a rate that is not sustainable for the environment. However, it is possible to make green solutions and work with nature to coexist harmoniously with our natural environment. Thank you for listening to my podcast.